What's up everybody, Skratch coming up with another Raid Shadow Legends video. Today we're not alone, we actually have Ash on the channel here with us. What's up Ash, how are you doing buddy?
Skratch, I'm doing great man, thanks for having me on, how are you?
Yeah, doing pretty good man, having a blast, nice to have you on the channel again. It's been a while since I've been away, I know we've done a couple of collabs before. We have a collab on Ash's channel as well guys, so make sure you head over and check it out. Today we're gonna talk about the epic champions that we would 6-star from every faction. Now the way we're gonna do it is gonna be kind of like a draft, so this is Ash's idea, is actually a pretty good one. What we're gonna do, we're gonna pick epics from each faction and tell you why we're gonna 6-star them. And if we don't have any epics that we would pick up from that faction after, we're gonna stop. We're gonna tap out, that's it. I'm out of here. You know, I have nothing else in this faction that I want to 6-star. Nothing else that I want to recommend my viewers to 6-star from this faction because it's no point. So these champions, they're gonna be able to carry you all the way to the end game. So champions that you're still gonna use regardless of how many legendaries you have on your account. You know, the very good epic champions from each faction. So I'm actually gonna let Ash to start with the Bannerlords right here since he's the guest. Which one is your first pick?
Thanks man, appreciate that. Yeah, I like this format because we get to kind of, you know, like it's a draft. Think strategically about who's gonna, you know, lead us more into the end game, who we're gonna be able to use the most, you know, overall. So with all that said, I will go with, it's between two champions for me, probably not the two that everybody is expecting, or maybe the two, I don't know. But I'm gonna start off with, I'm going to start off with Ursula the Mourner, and it feels weird to say her and not the other dude, but I feel like you can start your account off with one of the best AoE revivers in the game, bar none. How can you complain about that? She also has increased defense and the strength, and even removed from the revive in her kit on the 4 turn. She has increased attack and decreased attack. Yeah, I think you can just get a lot of utility really into the end game, even with Ursula.
Absolutely, she's a powerful champion. In the end game, you can even run her on the Doom Tower. I'm gonna go with Stag Knight from here. I just like the champion all around. Defense down, decrease attack, decrease speed. The passive is pretty interesting, giving you increased accuracy if you get resisted. Very good stats. He can drop a bit of damage as well. What's your next pick?
My next pick is going to be Archmage Helmet. Archmage Helmet is, to me, those are the big three, right, in this faction. Stag Knight, Archmage, and Ursula. All of them have legendary S kits. Archmage is great. He has AoE stun, pretty decent damage for a support champion, increased speed, crit rate, crit damage, all on a 3-turn cooldown. Good base stats. Archmage is a beast.
Absolutely. Plus, immune to thermical decrease effects. I think he might be the only champion in the entire game. Now, from here, I'm gonna go Giscard as well. He's a pretty Giscard the Sigil. So I like the whole idea of having increased defense and increased attack on the same skill on a 3-turn cooldown. We have the Provoke on the A2 AoE. The A1 decreased attack makes him pretty good for clan boss and dungeons as a progression champion, and even to keep you in the late game, to say like this. The passive is kind of like what makes him a bit tricky for clan boss, but all around he's definitely a pretty solid champion, you know.
I agree, and I am tapping out, my friend.
Tapping out. So this time around, we're actually gonna go all the way at the bottom and start with the Shadowkin and just go up.
Wait, so you have no more then as well, huh?
No, no more in there. I'm tapping out. I'm tapping out of the Bannerlords as well. I'm sorry, but they just don't feel that sexy anymore there. So in the Shadowkin, which one is gonna be your pick from here? Because we have a few.
Yes. Yeah, we do have a few, Skratch, and I was so impressed after I finally invested in Taragi the Frog. So impressed in this champion. He really is a champion that can be super viable all the way into the end game. He's got a little Uros to Soul Cage vibe going on with his passive. You can land poisons, great for soloing multiple Doom Tower bosses or for a clan boss team. He also has 3-turn cooldown with Shield and Ally Protect. That's very rare to get from an epic champion. And then the AoE Provoke as well, and decreased attack on his A1. He brings a lot to the table, a lot of like the quintessential clan boss debuffs as well. Just love the Frog, man. He's a really, really good champion.
Absolutely, very powerful. I'm gonna go with Hotatsu here. Another awesome champion.
Yeah.
Defense aura for all battles. The A1 has a chance to drop the leech. We have decreased attack AoE on the A2. The A3 we have increased defense and we have continuous heal. And the passive, which makes him immune to some of these debuffs: stun, sleep, freeze, fear, true fear, provoke, petrification. Will kind of remove them, not make him immune, sorry. But he's a solid
Yep.
champion. Definitely a pretty badass one. What else we have on the list for you from the Shadow King?
Totally agree with you there. I'll go with Genbo the Dishonored. Just a great nuker. The beautiful thing in this game is a lot of, and you know, we kind of lose this. So this idea escapes us sometimes, but we don't need that many nukers in this game, right? Like, you don't need to go for every fusion nuker out there or fragment summon or feel the FOMO if you don't get those champions. If you have a champion like Genbo the Dishonored, you're pretty good, right? He's Void Affinity. You can use him as a nuker. Does damage pretty much everywhere. Great damage. One of the better arena nukers out there because of his passive, where he can ignore unkillables. He's immune to decreased attacks, so less damage mitigation on him. And then he has that self-buff ability, increased crit rate, increased crit damage, with the extra turn going into the Heartless Blitz. So yeah, he's like a great nuker. Can stand alone with, I would say, maybe Magnar out of all the epic nukers out there and contend with some of the best legendary nukers.
Absolutely. He is a very solid champion. Now, I gotta say, I find it pretty hard to actually pick one from here that will really do something amazing for me. But I'm gonna pick one more. I'm gonna go for one more, and that's gonna be Burangiri. So again, he's such a unique epic champion because of his passive. Heals this champion by 50% whenever an ally or an enemy dies. Allows him to do quite a few crazy things as a champion. Then we have strength and buff on all allies. We have a shield on all allies. Then we have an AoE stun, and the A1 has a chance to provoke. So all around, I feel like he's a very good champion just to carry you in the game.
I agree. I think that's it for me, though. I don't think I have any other must upgrades here.
I agree with you. Moving to the High Elves. So what do you have from the High Elves?
High Elves. Well, let's just go super obvious here with Royal Guard. And Royal Guard, I run my Royal Guard, or at least one of them, in Reflex now. So much damage against Hydra Clan Boss. Absolutely love this champion. He received a little bit of, like, I guess, a power creep. After the level 21 through 25 dungeons, you couldn't just smack, a few Royal Guards on Spider. But after Hydra came out, he received all of that love right back in terms of being a meta epic champion and one of the better damage dealers out there. Not much else to say other than he gets the job done with that takedown ability. And his A3 is underrated as well if you're looking for extra kind of turn meter utility in PvE stuff.
Absolutely. The next champion that I want to talk about is Virgis. Another more obvious choice right here. He's such a powerful champion. He can solo the Scarab King. Great just to support your team. He's such a powerful support champion. So ally defense in all dungeons by 33%. The A1 has a chance to reflect damage. We have ally protection, continuous heal. We have a reflect damage, increased speed. He has so many things going on in his kit. And then his passive, which constantly heals the champion and just buffs him with shield. So he's a pretty awesome champion.
All right, I agree with you there. This is tough. There's two champions I'm eyeing up here that are right borderline in terms of a must. I have a high threshold here, but I'm actually going to save the other one for you, maybe. I don't know. And I'm going to go with Indrysia. Indrysia is kind of a new-ish, I want to say like 6 months old or so in the game. I think she was part of a fusion or fragment summon. Either way, though, she really grew on me. It was a very interesting champion. Decreased crit damage on the A1. On the A2, we have a stun, a potential 2-turn stun. And then on the A3, it's an AoE on a 3-turn cooldown. Decrease the duration of all enemy buffs by 2 turns. Increase the duration of increased defense buffs on all allies. Doesn't sound like the most insane kit known to man, Skratch. But this ability, Point of Justice, people just don't realize that reducing the decreasing the duration of all enemy buffs by 2 turns in like 90% of scenarios, that's all you need on the buffs. Like they'll all be gone, with that ability. So if you're lacking a really good buff stripper out there, if you don't have maybe like a Madame Ceres on your team, I would definitely consider investing in Indrysia. However, with all that said, it's still kind of it's borderline, compared to Virgis and Royal Guard. Last thing I'll say is her Heartstrung passive is pretty cool as well. Ally protect on the ally with the lowest max HP and strengthen increased defense on herself.
Yeah, she's a pretty decent champion. I agree with you. I'm gonna pick one more from here, Tyrell, just because
there you go.
I had such a good experience with this champion all around in the game. Ally defense for all battles. We have a decreased thermometer or a stun for 2 turns as well on his kit, depending of it's a bit situational there. The A2 decreased defense AoE. We We have a chance to land Sleep AoE if we have a decreased attack on the enemy, decreased attack on the A1. He hits pretty hard. He was an amazing champion for Clan Boss, and he can still deliver tons and tons of good results in the game all around. Anything else from this faction that you want to pick?
That's it, man. That's it for me.
Tapping out, tap out.
All right.
Moving down to the Dwarfs. So
all right,
here we have quite a few, actually. Quite a few. Yeah. Which one is your first pick?
Yeah, my first pick is Geomancer, and it's not close. I think that Geo is just a godlike epic champion of the game because, I mean, this is what you look for in any champion, but especially epic or rare champions. If you see a champion that they're the only champion in the entire game of whatever, 800, 900 champions now, they can do what they do as effectively as what they do. And in Geomancer's case, it's that HP burn synergy with his passive. Yeah, he's my first pick. He's an incredible damage dealer. Also mitigates damage as well. Can remove buffs from the enemy. AoE on the A1, decrease accuracy. You name it. This guy's got it. But yeah, really, really love Geomancer.
Totally agree 100%.
There we go.
I'm going to go for Demita. She's one of the most powerful champions for unkillable teams. She has block damage on a 3-turn cooldown. Very, very nice. It is for 1 turn, but it's more than enough. Increase the duration of buffs, decreases the duration of debuffs. We have heals. The A1 doesn't do much, but all around, the rest of her kit is absolutely amazing. And ally defense in all battles by 20%. Anything else from here?
I agree. Yes, I'm actually going to go with... I'm going to take Runekeeper Dazdirk on my squad here. Yep. Love his base stats, a lot of HP, a lot of speed, a lot of defense. Has a leech on the A1, increase attack, turn meter fill, 25% on a 3-turn cooldown. Really solid ability for an increased attack option on your team. And then he has the cleanse and the heal of this champion's max HP, scales pretty well, over 20k, and then continuous heal for 2 turns on allies who have a debuff removed. This is a great cleanse ability, really, really solid support champion, has kind of a weird aura, though, attack in all battles, but which doesn't really make much sense for a support champion like him, but I'm not going to question it. Runekeeper Dazdirk is a really solid option, in my opinion. What about you? Anybody else?
I'm going to take one more from here, and that's going to be Gala Longbraids. There are plenty of epic champions in here, but a lot of them got power creep. Gala Longbraids, she just brings so much damage. So if you haven't tried Gala Longbraids, you got to do it. Attacks one enemy 3 times, ignores defense, grants an extra 10 if the champion is at full HP. Then attacks one enemy, will ignore 50% defense when attacking, gets a bit of a heal. And the A1 again attacks one enemy 2 times, will ignore more defense. She deals so much damage, honestly. Like, if you haven't tried her, you gotta do it. She's insane.
Yeah, totally agree. That's interesting. I wasn't expect you to choose Gala, though. That's cool that you did. I'm gonna keep it going, man. I'm gonna keep it going. I'm gonna go with Cornelia. I really like Cornelia. If you're looking for someone who can solo, 2 or maybe 2.5, 3 maybe Doom Tower bosses out there, look no further. Some really cool things you can do with that revitalizing rest A3 ability. And on the A2, having the AoE sleep, especially like if I was to pull her in the early game, you can use her in kind of a Kaimar type way. To CC the enemy team in the arena while your nuker and your debuffer, whoever, are catching up in speeds if you don't have that great artifacts overall. So I just think that you can utility in the early game, the mid game, and the end game on this very unique epic champion.
Yeah, she's very, very solid. So I'm going to go to the next one, and that's going to be Melga. She is a pretty powerful reviver. As an epic champion, I feel like she's very, very good, especially for the faction as well. A chance to remove a debuff from a random ally. Places a shield, continuous heal on the team, revives 2 random allies with turn meter and shield on them directly. It's the only champion that does this, I think, if I'm not mistaken, in the entire game. And we have an aura for HP battles, in all battles. HP in all battles.
Yep, I totally agree with you. I was hoping you were going to mention her. I think for me, that's where I tap out, though. Although I really love a lot of these champions too. I love Grizzle Jarl. I love Rearguard Sergeant. I think that Fodbor is decent if you just want a dwarf debuffer. Yeah, but no must-have. I like Rockbreaker too, I should say.
Yeah, I feel like they're amazing champions like Rearguard Grizzle, but I feel like they kind of belong more into the faction now, since we got so many champions in all the other factions that do what they do just better, So I feel like even though they are amazing champions, I'm gonna tap out here as well. And we're going to move over to the Sacred Order.
All right. Is it you or me?
Me? Yeah, you can go first.
All right, my first draft pick is going to be. You can tell I like support champions because I'm going to go right for. Yeah. Ooh, this is tough. This is tough.
It is, isn't it?
I was gonna go right for. You know what? I already have Ursula on my squad, and I don't have Stag Knight, so I'm going to reverse the decision. If I went with Stag Knight over Ursula, I would go with Godseeker over Deke, but I'm going to go with Deke. So Deacon Armstrong will be my first choice here. He's speed in all battles. He has the time compression, which gives him an extra turn and turn meter control and turn meter boost. We have an AoE decreased defense, which you can keep up almost all the time because of that extra turn proccing on the A3. And then we have Leech on the A1. What more do you want from an epic champion, Deke?
That's more than enough. He is absolutely a beast. Godseeker Neri, again, such a powerful champion. A bit of a heal on the A1, the A2, heals all allies, decreases the duration of all buffs on the enemies, and increases the duration of all buffs on the allies. We have revives a dead ally with 50% HP, and resets their cooldowns of their skills. And then the passive, whenever one of your allies is going to get a fatal blow, bang, that revive on that comes in play from Godseeker Neri, and your champion is back on track. That's why she's such an amazing, amazing champion. What else you have from here?
Yep, a couple more. I have Inquisitor Shamil. He's just so important for Hydra Clan Boss now, being able to remove the true fears. So yeah, I feel like just having him on your squad is almost at least one of your three teams. I haven't met anybody who doesn't run an Inquisitor on any of their teams. Do you?
I don't think so, no.
There we go. I met somebody. There we go. Skratch. Why don't you like Inquisitor?
I do like him. That's what I said. I don't think I met anyone either that.
I thought you were like, I don't. All right.
No, I do.
Yeah.
Hell yeah,
okay,
I do.
Got you. I think you're like, nah, I don't use him, man. All right, cool. So that's it. Yeah. I mean, there's not much else to say about him other than he can dish out some decent damage too. You know.
Yeah, he's great for the Dark Fae and the Hydra. I'm gonna go with Cardinal. So she's the only champion in the entire game that has this crazy skill, revives all enemies to maximum turn meter, okay? So that means that whenever your ally is gonna get revived by her, he's gonna take the turn before anyone else on the entire border, regardless of how fast the opponent is. She is the only champion in the game that does it. She's such a fun champion to play on Stone Skin in Arena at the moment. It's just crazy. I'm loving Cardinal.
Okay, great choice. I'm going to keep it going here with Sanguinia. Sanguinia, I don't know what it is about her, but I feel like she's one of the more underrated champions out there. She's similar to Runekeeper Dazdric, actually. Different in a lot of ways, too, but the base stats are almost mirrored, identical. And then she has a 3-time hitter on the A1, decrease the duration of random buffs on the target by 1 turn. Not a bad A1 ability there. We also have block debuffs. We have continuous heal. This is on a 3-turn cooldown on the A2. And then on the A3, we attack an enemy, have a 100% chance transferring all debuffs from this champion to the target, and then cleanses all allies as well on a 4-turn cooldown. So again, she's bringing a lot to the table: block debuffs, continuous heals, and the cleanse, along with the debuff transfer. Big fan of Sanguinia.
Absolutely. She's a pretty decent champion. I'm going to move over to Mordecai. So we have AoE HP burn, increase attack on all allies, decrease the turn meter of all enemies, increases the turn meter of all allies, and the A1 has a small chance to decrease more turn meter. All around a pretty good champion for a Spider. Pretty good for a Doom Tower as well on some content in there as well. So he's not a bad champion. Anything else from this faction?
Yeah, I'll give it to Phoenix as well, or Phenax. I really like this champion. He's grown on me a lot throughout the years. A great boss debuffer with decreased defense and decreased speed on the same ability. Pretty cool. And then he has an AoE block buffs, which is very handy right now in this game. And then he has one of the hardest hitting A1s in the game. And it also has a deny revival on it. Great for ally attack teams. We're just looking for extra damage out of someone with an extremely hard hitting A1. But also great to, come in and, like I said, help against bosses with those debuffs on the A3.
Absolutely. He's a powerful one. So I'm going to tap out here. I have no other champion that kind of like looks that amazing. Moving over to the next faction. So Knight Revenant. We have quite a few epics in here as well. If you want to kick on it with your first.
Sure, man. I will take... I think my personal. Ooh, this is
There are a
also
lot,
a
huh?
tough
I was
one,
just looking now.
man.
There's so many.
All right, well, I'm gonna go with. Oh golly, I think if I was starting an account, I would probably go with. Believe it or not, I would go with Miscreated Monster. It's weird. He's been in the game now for a few years, and I feel like we've forgotten. Some people have forgotten, not all. So your savvy viewers will know. But this guy is just a great for the early game, for the mid game in the arena. He's fantastic. But for PvE, basically into the late game, he's great. Great for keeping your team alive against Spider, keeping your team alive against Ice Golem because he can hit pretty hard with that great stun that he has, or excuse me, the great shield that he has on the A2. Also a stun, also has Ally Protect, which leads to more kind of passive CC ability with the Spooky Grown passive. Has decreased defense on his A1. This guy really has it all. A lot of base HP as well, easy to keep alive. So yeah, I was a really big fan of Miscreated Monster. He's a really versatile champion.
Absolutely, totally agree on that. I'm gonna go with Rector Drat.
That was right between my choices. Those are my two choices.
Such an awesome champion. The A1, she has a chance to drop attack down, heals all allies, perfect veil, continuous heal, constantly heals them with the passive when they're under veil or perfect veil. We have a revive, a single ally with 60% HP, turn meter, and a perfect veil for 3 turns. She is such a beast of a champion. She gives so much healing, such a good support champion for your team,
Absolutely agree with you 100%. One of my favorite, support champions out there. I'm going to go with next. I would actually go with Skullcrown, keeping it old school here. AoE on the A1, AoE on the A2, but think about just how much utility you can get from Skullcrown. Not just as a nuker anywhere that you need her in the game, essentially, but in the arena, you can just ride Skullcrown through 90% of this game, you don't see her in like the end-to-end platinum tier arena, but everywhere else in terms of speed farming, blender comps, anywhere, of course, a ton of Skullcrown for good reason with that annoying passive keeping her alive. Sometimes one extra hit when she's on 1 HP will clear out the entire enemy team. Big fan of the champion.
Absolutely. Definitely a very, very powerful one. I'm going to go with Doom Priesting here. So we have the passive that removes one random debuff at the start of each turn. We have increased attack. And the A1 randomly increased crit rate. Increases speed for force champions. She is amazing mainly for her passive and her increased attack.
Totally agree. I'm going to go with Thylesia next. We have a debuff spread if the target is under Hex on the A1. I'm going to go right to her passive here. She's, when attacking enemies under decreased defense debuffs, has a 50% chance of placing a Hex for 2 turns. This Feast of Will passive makes her sneakily one of the better Hex champions in the game. And then she has an AoE decreased defense on her A2 with decent multipliers as well. On her A3, another 3-turn cooldown, AoE attack, still with decent multipliers. Increase the duration of all debuffs on the enemies by 1 turn. A very powerful ability. As I mentioned a few times now, can get a lot of damage out of this debuffer and great Hex. So I will go with Thylesia.
Nice. I'm gonna go in for Sepulchre Sentinel. So we have decreased attack, we have increased defense, block debuffs, amazing for clan boss all around. And then we have this unique passive that has a 50% chance to block completely the damage on an ally on a 1-turn cooldown. And we have an ally defense aura for all battles. Such a beast of a champion, man.
Totally agree with you there. I'm gonna go Senesha. Complete the dynamic duo of the sisters here.
Absolutely.
Has kind of the inverse or the opposite of Skullcrown's A1, extra hit on enemies with less than 50% HP after the first hit. And then she has a great heal ability, totally neutralize a target on the A2. And then she has a really great, one of the better heals in the game on the A3. So a great support champion, but you can also use for multiple utilities, right? You can get extra damage out of the A1. You can get control and a stun set off of the A1. You can run her in a blender comp alongside Skullcrown. So there's a lot of flexibility in her. She's fantastic for faction wars as well.
Absolutely. She hits pretty hard. Now, out of all these champions that are left in here, there are a couple of decent ones, but I'm going to tap out. I feel like Golden Reaper just doesn't deserve it.
Golden Reaper would have been the only one that I would have considered, but I'm with you. I'm going to tap out.
Yeah, I feel like there's so many other out there that can do it better, So the next champion, the next faction, the Barbarian. So here we have quite a few as well. If I'm I'm gonna start, yeah? So I'm gonna go with the Fat Man, Farrakhan the Fat.
Yes!
One of my ultimate favorite epic champions. We have so many things on his kit. Increased crit rate, increased crit damage, ally attack, poisons, HP burn, defense down, damage mitigation on his passive. And he has all those cool tattoos and that thingy, whatever it wants to be in there, like a weapon. But he is wrecking everything in its path. Next one for you. What do you have?
Absolutely. Cool, man. I agree with you. I love the Fat Man. I'm going to go with Skytop Shaman. Great healer for PvE content, but also in the arena, you can get so much value out of this A2. If you have, a champion like Battle Sage or Skytouch, I like Skytouch better. You can just really rely on her to go against all the Hegemon, all the Torment teams out there, and just really neutralize, when you put her in an immunity set, neutralize their CC abilities. So I'll go with Skytouch.
Absolutely. Very, very nice champion. The next one that I have on the list here is going to be no one else but even High Katun. So High Katun is going to be great as a champion. You can run her in clan boss teams in the end game. She's going to carry you slowly through the game, all the way to the end game. And even there, you're not going to let her be, So we have a speed aura for all battles. We have a chance to decrease the turn meter with the A3. We have increases the turn meter and increases speed for all allies, and the A1 has a chance to drop a decreased speed on a single target. Anything else that you have from here?
I have a lot of champions that I actually really like, but none that I can say are like guaranteed must 6-star. I'll give a shout out to Alika. I did a video on her after I saw you did a video on her because I was like, damn, Skratch really loves Alika. But I wouldn't say she's a must 6-star, though. Tashada is now going to be a 3-turn reviver, I think, on the A3. So that's going to be kind of cool, but I don't think she's a must max either. So I guess I'll tap out.
Yeah, I totally agree on that as well. Moving to the Dark Elves, we have quite a few champions in here. Now, I'm going to start with the most obvious one, and I'm going to go for Madame Series. If you get her, don't miss on it. Level her up because she is a legendary in disguise. Removes all buffs, decrease defense, decrease attack on all enemies on a 4-turn cooldown. We have a chance to steal buffs from the enemies, putting a block buffs on our entire team. Fear from the passive, fear from the A1, a shield from the passive. She is such a crazy, crazy champion. Mainly used for PvP, but she can serve a bit of justice in PvE as well.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. I will go with the other, I think, super obvious choice in Dark Kale. Secret Room champion, obviously, but one of the better epics out there in the game. Certainly unique. He has instant activation of HP burn and or poison on the A1. He has increased the duration of all debuffs on an AoE with decreased attack on his A2, 3-turn cooldown. And then 3 poisons and poison sensitivity on 3-turn cooldown on the A3. Also, decreased crit rate on enemies under 2 or more poison debuffs, which is nice on the passive. Just a very unique kit. Even legendaries can't do exactly what he can do. And I use him quite a bit now in the game. So Dark Kale.
Totally agree. He's very, very powerful. The next one that I want to talk about is Psylar. I love Psylar as a champion. AoE on the A1, AoE on the A2 with decreased accuracy. And on the A3, we have AoE, decreased speed, and decreased turn meter by 40%. Such a good crowd control champion. Amazing on a stun set.
I could not agree more. I'll go next with Ryan the Conjurer, another Doom Tower normal champion. She gets kind of a bad rap because she's so easily compared to Madame Ceres. Yeah, right? But she does have a great A2 ability. Same 100% chance of removing all buffs. Instead of placing decreased attack and decreased defense on a 4-turn cooldown, she's placing the big version of Weaken on a 3-turn cooldown when booked. She can also revive on her A3, and then she has block buffs on the A1. So not a bad champion overall, especially if you don't have a champion like Madame Ceres. You could rely on Ryan as the same sort of utility inside PvP and of course as a reviver and support and everything else in PvE.
Absolutely. So even though Lua, she's a decent champion, I feel like I'm gonna tap out here. I'm not gonna go for Lua. I don't think she's a must. She is a pretty solid champion, turn meter decrease and decent amount of damage, but there are quite a few other champions that can be kind of like do what she does,
Yeah, I agree. I would give like a nod to Kaden and Captain Tamilia, but I wouldn't say they're must upgrade. So I'm tapping out too.
Lovely. Moving over to the Ogryn tribes. So here we actually have a couple of very, very solid ones. I think is your turn. I'm not even sure anymore, but I'll let you go
I
first.
know, I forget too, but I'm gonna go, even though there are quite a few solid ones here, I'm sure we'll spend a minute or two in Ogryn Tribe. I'm gonna go with my personal favorite epic in the entire game, and that is Ugo.
Ugo.
I really, really love Ugo. I mean, I think I mentioned this before in the video, but what I'm looking for when I'm investing in any champion is a champion who can basically serve dual roles on my team, right? You can, I think of the debuffs or the buffs that I need, or the factors that I need to ensure victory in any area of the game. And if I can find a champion who does multiple of those areas, it allows me to bring in another nuker or another damage dealer onto the team, and just things go faster and more efficiently. So anyway, she does that. She has a decent amount of heals and support. She also has decreased defense. She also has block buffs, all in the same ability there on the A2. And then she has a little mini cleanse here with a heal on the A3 ability with the leech, as I mentioned, on the A1. So I love Ugo.
Absolutely a very, very powerful champion. I'm going to go with the next obvious choice here, and it's Maniter. Just overall an amazing champion. He's a god in clan boss. Decrease attack on the A1, deplete meter on a target with the A2. Unkillable, block debuffs. What else you want from a champion? Not only for clan boss, great for faction wars, great for Dice Golem if you need, great for Doom Tower. Whenever you're struggling, he's going to be there to support your team with that unkillable and immunity and decrease attack AoE. Overall amazing. Anything else that you have from this faction?
Yeah, absolutely. I would go Irigrim still, even after the nerf to Irigrim. He was like a beast mode epic, and now he's just a really, really solid, good epic. He has poison on the A1. He has a great heal and cleanse on the single target A2. And then he has 2 poisons and continuous heal. 2 poisons on the enemies, continuous heal on the allies. Just a good support champion. Has speed in all battles by 20% as well. So a really good speed all battle aura. Yeah, still think he's worth, no-brainer max on this champion.
Absolutely. I'm going to go with Skull Crusher, the only epic champion that has counter attack in the entire game. Ally protection and counter attack on all allies, places an unkillable buff on himself. The A1 heal reduction, passive, decreases the duration of all debuffs on the champion by 1 turn. So that makes him pretty, pretty solid all around. Definitely can recommend him enough.
All right, I'm still going here, Skratch.
Please.
I'm gonna go with Claude Beastfeeder. Really like this champ. I built him recently, and I was like, wow, this guy's actually a lot better than I thought he was going to be. He's very fast, 110 base speed, a lot of HP, decent defense. He has decreased crit rate on his A1. Definitely unique to have. Not even that many champions in the game. I think only like 3 or so have even decreased crit rate. Could be a little bit more than that, but either way, not that many. And then on the A2, we have a shield on a 3-turn cooldown based on 20% of this champion's max HP. And then we have Beast Escape, which, I wouldn't call it like the most game-breaking ability in the entire game, but nobody else can do this. Nobody else on a 3-turn cooldown inside the entire game, legendaries included, have increased speed and increased accuracy on the same ability. 2 of the, most important buffs to have there, especially in progression with that increased accuracy, can help you out quite a bit, along with getting that speed there and the support of the shield. So overall, really like the champion. Also has a little handy heal on the ally lowest HP every turn on the passive.
Yeah, he's a pretty solid champion. I'm going to tap out actually here. I'm not going to go for a Occult Brawler. He's a poisoner, but he's only used as a poisoner in Clan Boss. So if you're going to have a better replacement, he's definitely not going to be a must 6-star. What about you?
I guess I'm going to tap out too, but my choice would be Grush the Mangler if I was going to include anybody else. Just really, really underrated healer and just a solid defense-based champion. Free for everybody too.
Yeah, he's actually not a bad champion to 6-star. He's gonna be great for faction wars. So I think yeah, we can give him the credit before we tap out both of us to agree on Grush the Mangler. Moving over to the next faction, Undead Hordes, or the Unalive faction. We have quite a few here as well. So it's your turn actually again. Seems like it. Damn. Ash, always your turn.
Sure. No big deal. No big deal. This is a really tough one. I think that 3, maybe 4 of the better epics in the entire game are all in this faction. So I'll kick things off with Mausoleum Mage. Actually, I wanted to go with another champion over him, but I still can't get away from everything this champion does. It's really incredible. He's pretty fast, 104 base speed, decent base stats, decreased speed on the A1. So he's bringing decreased speed. He's bringing increased crit rate. He's bringing increased defense. He's bringing block debuffs. This is all on 3-turn cooldown. And then he has a cleanse and a heal on top of that with turn meter fill. That's just a lot for one champion to be doing. It's really incredible. You can compare this to a lot of legendary kits like, I don't know, Hacker and Smash Lord or something, and he pales in comparison to Mausoleum Mage. Just a really, really good champion.
Absolutely. I'm gonna go for no one else but Anax. My opinion, the #1 epic damage dealer for clan boss in the entire game. He deals so much damage with the A1. Very powerful, same like Phoenix. Plus he has defense down. Poisons decrease accuracy on a 3-turn cooldown for 3 turns with the A2. Weaken on the A3. The passive is a bit wonky for some clan boss teams, but you can make it work in most of them because it grants an extra turn when the HP drops below, plus increase attack, increase defense. He actually has quite a few things to offer.
Wow, I've never maxed out Anax, so it's nice to hear that. Cool. Next, I'll go with Vogoth. Yeah. Vogoth is so great. I mean, yeah, sure, triple hitter on his A1, AoE provoke on the A2, decrease attack, okay, whatever. But really, the Festering Dynamo and the Eerie Presence passives are just such a tremendous, I guess, strategic opportunity opener in the arena as go second teams. And you can use them against Bommel and anywhere you just need absurd heals when you're taking a lot of income damage. So he really changed the game for a lot of people out there.
Absolutely, such a crazy, unique champion. I'm going to go with Husk. Enemy max HP nuker, great for the dragon, up to stage 20 if you need him there. Then he's pretty strong for the Hydra clan boss, pretty good for Doom Tower as well for the Magma Dragon. We have Provoke on the A1, enemy max HP on the A2 with a chance to stun AoE. And we have a normal hit on the A3, nothing special there. HP Aura for Arena, which I wouldn't probably suggest you to use him there, but as a PvE, he is amazing as a champion.
Absolutely, I will go with Seeker. How can we not go with the the Bat Eater comps? Just really, really good, not just for clan boss, but for the arena or really anywhere that you need somebody with a very dynamic and unique kit. He has turn meter 30% on a 3-turn cooldown, increase attack, provoke with the extra turn on the A2. Just keeps the team going more so than really any other turn meter booster out there in the game. I want to say, just because of the fact that the extra turn with the 30% boost. Also very handy on go second teams because of that passive in the arena. So there's a lot of versatility on this champion as well.
Absolutely, I cannot agree more with you on it. I'm going to pick another one from here before I'm moving over, and that's going to be Dark El Hayne.
Okay.
She is such a unique champion because of the passives, right? So fills the champion's turn meter, instantly activates her skill whenever she receives a freeze. Then she instantly removes the freeze, places increased crit rate, increased crit damage, strengthen, and then bang, she racks with the A2, which places an increased attack on herself as well, and she has a chance to land decreased speed AoE. She's just such a nasty champion. Awesome, awesome stuff from Dark El Hayne. Plus, she's free. Everyone can get her.
I would have picked her as well, but otherwise, I'm tapping out, man. I'm tapping out.
I'm gonna go with Gorgorab as well. I'm gonna
you would include him.
Yeah, I'm gonna include Gorgorab because he's kind of like a mini arbiter. We have increased speed in all battles, revive, and a heal from there, increased turn meter, increased attack, and the A1 has a chance to remove a random buff. He carried me through so much in the game. I feel like he definitely still belongs on my list, you know?
Okay, fair enough, man. Fair enough. Nothing against Gorgorab. I just, you know what it is I feel like the story of these types of videos, like they're so subjective, they're so opinion based, obviously. But also the champions that you personally rely on more, you just generally have a more of an affinity towards those champions, right? So for me, I never had Gorgorab in the early in the mid game. I just never used him, even though everybody was like, Gorgorab, he's the best, you know, like or whatever. So by the time that I got Gorgorab, it's like I didn't need Gorgorab, you know. So it's just I feel like you could probably tell that same story about hundreds of champions depending on who you're talking to, you know.
Definitely, I definitely agree with you on that. Moving over to the Lizardmen. So yes, it's your turn again. Actually, I'm gonna let you go first.
I love this, man. This is great. First pick, I'm gonna go with don't even have to think about this one. It's Venomage. Venomage, such a cool champion. We have the decreased target's max HP if they're under heal reduction, but we have the chance of activating 2 poisons, 50% chance on the A1. Really good ability, decreased defense, decreased attack on the A2, 3-turn cooldown, then an AoE heal reduction for 3 turns on a 3-turn cooldown. Also with poisons, great for clan boss, great for nether spider, really changed the game in a lot of different ways. Also has accuracy in all battles by 45.
Yeah, she's Absolutely an amazing, amazing champion. She can do tons of stuff on her own. Plus, she's going to be just an amazing champion in a team with other champs that they need a bit of support and damage. Scatix is going to be my pick here. So on the A1, he has a chance to decrease speed. We have a chance AoE to steal a random buff with the A2. The A3 removes all debuffs, block debuffs for 2 turns on all allies, and places a shield. And then his passive places a block damage whenever this champion drops below 30% HP. Pretty strong. And we have a resistance aura. Great cleanser.
Absolutely agree with you there. I love my cleansers. I'm gonna go with Aox the Rememberer. Aox, really cool champion. You can come in with the A3. You can land decrease attack, and then you can have a decreased turn meter as well on the same ability. Decreased crit rate, and their turn meter is 50% or more after the turn meter decrease, which basically means it's kind of an interesting, albeit a little bit of a niche like arena ability here, especially for, just farming and stuff like that. Decreased crit rate, decreased attack, and turn meter reduction on free turn cooldown is solid to have. You can really mitigate the nukers on your enemy team, right? And then we have a heal on the A1, heals each ally by an extra 2.5% for each debuff on the target, which is a really nice heal on the A2. And then we have poison on the A1. And it doesn't end there. We have increase the duration of 2 random debuffs on the attacker by 1 turn when attacked. Occurs once per hit. Can be great for clan boss as well.
Definitely agree. Then we have kind of like my last pick from here, I would say, and that's Jerick. So we have decreased attack on the A1. We have ally protection, increased defense on all allies. And then the passive continuous heal on the ally for 1 turn when they lose 20% HP in 1 hit on an ally. Sorry, I kind of like said it wrong there. And ally HP in all battles by 33%. He's a pretty solid champion. He's not as powerful for clan boss because of the 4 turn cooldown, but you can make him work on a 4-to-3 ratio. He's great for Doom Tower bosses and just all around a solid champion, Anything else?
I agree. Yeah, I would give a shout out to Broadmaw. Broadmaw, permanent fusion in the game. He got a pretty big buff about 6 months or so ago. Yeah, has a freeze on the A1, on the A2. Now we have increased crit rate, big version, increased speed, small version, and turn meter fill by 15% on that A2 3-turn cooldown, which was buffed much better now.
Yeah.
And then we also have a 2-person revive on a 4-turn cooldown with block damage. Not the best revive out there, but a 4-turn 2-person revive is really, really solid, especially for an epic. So I think that Broadmaw now actually justifies fusing him for most players.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually kind of forgot about the whole change on his kit. Moving over to the demon spawns. So we're getting near the end here. We have quite a few epics in this faction. There's so many. So it's my turn this time around. I'm gonna go
Don't
with
take him.
I'm gonna go with Allure. I'm not gonna take him. I'm gonna go with Allure. So the A1, she's the only champion that's able to decrease so much turn meter with every single hit, okay? 3 hits, 75% turn meter decrease with the A1. No other champion in the game does it. Small version of defense down with the A2 and a chance to land sleep. Ignores 50% defense with the A3 and has a 30% extra chance to crit. Ally accuracy in faction creeps by 50. She is mainly used for the Fire Knight. I'm running her on the Dark Fae. And I feel like I would stop there with her as a champion. She's going to be great in other places as well, but that's where I personally use her. And honestly, she is amazing. No one else can replace her.
Yeah, you know what? I was like, don't say him, because I wanted to pick Magnar, who I will still choose on this champion. But you're right. If I'm starting an account, like, I want Allure, because no one else can do what she can do. To my point earlier, plenty of champions can do kind of what Magnar does, but Magnar is still class act when it comes to especially go second nuker or kind of a tankier nuker being an HP based champion, or just an all out, speed farming nuker. Can be fantastic in any of those areas because of that percussive pound ability. Can basically kill anybody with the right setup in the arena. One of the best, like I said, HP based nukers out there in the game, bar none. Not much else to say about Magnar other than he's a beast.
Absolutely. I'm going to go with no one else but Akak. So he is pretty solid as well. We have attacks all enemies. We have a freeze or an HP burn depending on how the targets are. They have a higher defense or a higher attack. And he has this crazy animation, makes everything feel like he's going so much faster because of the passive. We're getting Thermitar from the enemies that they have freeze on them. We're getting a bit of a heal. We're getting block debuffs and strengthen. All around, a very powerful champion.
Yeah, that I totally agree with you there. That passive is very good, maybe even underrated.
It's crazy how fast it's making the game. Like, everything moves so fast.
Absolutely. I will go with Umbral Enchantress. She has an AoE 2-turn provoke, fantastic ability, very unique. And then she has an A2 that can keep block buffs up basically all the time, depending on the speed of your enemies, because it lasts for 3 turns on a 3-turn cooldown. So great for, a block buffs option for Hydra Clan Boss as well. Not much else to say about Umbral other than great for Arena, great for anywhere you need some CC, and love that A2.
Absolutely, totally agree. Now, let me just quickly have a look, because there are quite a few epic champions in here. I wouldn't want to drop anyone else. I feel like Padma, she's decent for that attack down, but I'm not sure if I would completely go out there and say you must 6-star Padma, I feel like I'm not gonna do that to Padma. I like Padma, but I feel like she's not a must, That's kind of like how I feel. Do you have anything else left here?
I'm looking, I don't. Yeah, I think it's no, that's it for me. I'm tapping out, man. I'm tapping out.
Akot is pretty decent from the Doom Tower, actually, the HP burn if you need it.
Yeah. But Akoth, I love Soul Drinker, Nizana's pretty solid, but they're not, again, to your point with Padma, they're not, no-brainers 100%. I even think Tanix is pretty cool,
Yeah, exactly, yeah. But again, I feel like they're not there. Skinwalkers. Skinwalkers. What do we have here? Let's see, because we barely have any epics in here, honestly.
I know, there's not much. And I do feel like, I hate to say this, your viewers are going to be mad at me, but
I know.
No one likes talking bad about any champion. But Steel Skull, I feel like he's been power crept, man.
Oh, yeah.
He used to be, when I started playing, I'm sure you too, it's
like,
Steel Skull, you got him, that's it. If you have Tyrell and Steel Skull, you beat the game, basically. But I'm going to go Basher. If you don't have Warlord, I think that Basher's a great champion to invest in. Heck, you can put him in Stone Skin if you want to, and or Immunity or whatever you want to put him in, and go in there and neutralize your enemy team with that Stinging Blast ability. Can also deal some decent damage as well, but definitely known for his lockout potential with the block buffs on the A3, and as I mentioned, the increased cooldown, even more powerful on the A2.
Absolutely, he's a solid champion, and his Void Affinity is kind of like a no-brainer, Now,
yeah.
From here, I'm gonna go with Fane, just because she brings so much to the kit. So if you're starting, even if you're not starting, if you're late game, you don't have all the OP champions for clan boss. If you're running Fane in your clan boss team, you're gonna be able to one key or easily get 2 keys depending on what sort of gear you have. But we have defense down, we have weaken, we have a decrease attack, we have poisons. So all around, she pretty much fits everything. And everyone got one for free a few months ago. So that's another pro bono with her, Do you have anything else from this faction, though?
Dude, believe it or not, I don't. I like a few champions, I think that Urson Ironhide is, not that bad. I think that Taurus is nice if you're looking for, a poison, a risky poison champion. And I think that Flesh Terror is, really unique because he has a kit like no other champion in the game, but I just don't think that justifies... Just because they're unique in that case, I don't think it justifies automatically maxing them out. So, none for me. You?
Tap out for me as well. I'm out. Out. I don't have anything else from there either. So we are at the last faction. Unbelievable. The Orcs. Now, here we actually have a few. We have a few. So I'm gonna pick the most obvious one because I want to be very, very direct today. Seer. Karma Burn. Yes. Millions of damage. Maximum damage. She deals more damage than anyone else. If you set her up right, such a beast of a champion. PvP, you can run her there as well. Trust me when I'm telling you that, because you can strip buffs from the enemies and deal damage at the same time, but you need a bit of a setup. PvE, she is a goddess. We have increased crit rate, weaken on the A2. The A1 has a chance to grant an extra turn. She doesn't need attack, she doesn't need HP, she doesn't need defense to deal damage. She just needs buffs. So she needs different champions to come and play and help her out.
All right. I, of course, agree with you there. I'm going to go with probably not who most. Well, yeah, I'm going to actually go with a pretty obvious one. Forget it. Duck the Pierced. I'm going to go Duck the Pierced. If you like Stag Knight, you have to like Duck. Or Duke. It's very similar to Stag Knight's kit, only he's based on defense. He has decreased attack and decreased defense on his A2 ability, provided the attack is critical. And then on the A3, he has a provoke. 1 or 2 random enemies with reflect damage, unkillable. Just a really, really solid debuffer for the same reasons that Stag Knight is.
Absolutely. Very solid champion as well, Duck the Pierced. I'm going to go with Sandler Survivor. So she is such a beast and very unique because of the passive. Places ally protection, and whenever the HP of an ally drops below 50, block damage on this champion. The passive ally defense in all battles, increases the duration of all buffs, decreases the duration of all enemy buffs by 1 turn. The A1 has a chance to land the provoke. She smacks fairly decent. Super, super tanky champion.
Absolutely agree with you there. Love that A2 of her too. Like that Endless Sands is just such an underrated ability to have. Really, really solid champ. I'm gonna keep it going here with Tuok the Wanderer, man. I don't know how you feel about Tuok. Are you a big fan or no?
Okay, I'm okay with him.
Okay. So he's grown on me over the years. He has a 2-time hitter on his A1. He has increasing the cooldown of one of the enemy's skills by random, and then increase the cooldown of all their skills if this champion has less than 50% HP. Okay, an alright A1. On the A2, though, an AoE decreased speed, guaranteed land on a 3-turn cooldown. Stop right there. He has increased speed on himself as well, which is nice to have. He also has a heal in there. That's great. But really just a really hard-hitting AoE decreased speed ability. There's not that many champions, surprisingly, out there who have that, right? And then on the A3, we attack one enemy. We're stealing half of their turn meter. And then we have a stun for 2 turns. Steals 100% turn meter instead if this champion has less than 50% HP again. So this ability, stealing turn meter, allows him to just keep going and going and going, as well as the built-in increased speed. Just nice synergy, and he does a lot more than just nuking out there. Also has attack in all battles by 22%.
Awesome, awesome stuff. I'm going to pick another one from here as well, and that's going to be Rask. So I feel like he's such an awesome champion, and even in the end game you can run him. He's definitely not going to let you down. The A1 attacks one enemy, fills the champion's turn meter. Then the A2 attacks one enemy. Doesn't sound that interesting, but then the passive heals all allies by 10% of this champion's max HP whenever he inflicts a critical hit. So give him tons of HP, give him a crit rate, a relentless set if possible, and he's gonna be healing your team like no one else.
Absolutely agree with you there. I'm gonna go. I mean, you give it to Rask. I'm gonna go to Zargala. I feel like Zargala's right on the fence right now because she's also been power crept a little bit. Having a 4-turn decreased defense is not as great, and a 75% land rate granted on each hit or on the second and third hits. It's just not the dependability that we're looking for at this point in the game. But all that being said, she still makes the list for me because it is still fairly dependable, granted on a 4-turn cooldown. She's a nice kind of upgrade champion from War Maiden for a lot of players. You know, you get a lot more damage, and that A2 Devastate synergy with the Crack Armor ability definitely could be a lethal combination. So I'll still put her on the list.
Absolutely. I totally agree with you on that. And I'm going to get Jerick as well, actually, because I kind of like him. I kind of like him. So we have increased attack. We have a turn meter. 20% on a 3-turn cooldown, and we have revives 2 random allies, fills the turn meter by 40 and places a perfect veil on them, and the A1 has a chance to land the HP burn. So I feel like he's definitely a very solid champion as well.
Absolutely agree. After that, though, I'm tapping out, man.
Tapping out as well, we do have Liberga, which is going to be from the Doom Tower. We can't access her just yet. She's definitely going to be 100% 6-star because she's very powerful as a champion. But that's pretty much everything. These are the epics that we would recommend you to 6-star. Now, maybe we missed one here and there. Let us know in the comments down below. Let us know if you agree, if you disagree, which one is your favorite all around. How I mentioned, we already have a collab on Ash's channel, so head over and check that out as well. Ash, a pleasure to have you on the channel, brother, and appreciate all of you guys watching, and I'll catch you all soon in the next one. Peace.
Take care, Skratch.